President.
The senior senator from Maryland.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 7 requests for committees to meet during today's session of the Senate. They have the approval of the majority and minority leaders.
Duly noted.
Mr. President, this week is Public Service Recognition Week, a week we have set aside each year since 1985 to recognize and honor public servants. I would like to take this opportunity to express my deep, heartfelt gratitude to America's 20 million federal, state, county, and local public servants, from astronauts to astrophysics, caseworkers to court clerks, detectives to doctors, soldiers to superintendents, teachers to transit workers. America's public servants comprise one of our nation's most critical and often maligned assets. Men and women serve in harm's way to defend our nation. Other public servants support them. Public servants teach our children, deliver the mail, administer our elections, keep our streets and communities safe, and clean, guide air traffic, protect our natural resources and food and drug supplies, respond to natural disasters and other emergencies, conduct pioneering basic research, provide health care, interpret and enforce our laws, ensure that seniors and veterans receive the benefits they have earned, and represent our nation and its interests in foreign posts. I could go on and on. The work that public servants perform affects each and every one of us on a daily basis, making our lives so much better. The public sector workforce, particularly at the federal level, tends to be older, better educated, and more experienced than the private sector workforce. So many public servants could earn higher salaries in private sector jobs, but their motivation is more than pecuniary gain. It's a sense of duty and love of their community and country that compels them. President Biden issued a proclamation this week that says, at a time when public servants are facing threats and hostility simply for doing their jobs, they continue willingness to serve even more meaningful and important. We have an obligation to support them and to recognize and value their commitment and sacrifice. Our nation's future depends on ensuring our public servants have good jobs with competitive pay and benefits, along with the resources they need to accomplish their work. It also depends on the next generation of smart, dedicated people answering the call of public service and joining their ranks, helping deliver the promise of America to more of our citizens. I couldn't agree with the President more. Just 7% of America's federal workers are under the age of 30. I join President Biden in urging young Americans to consider careers in public service. We need your talent, your energy, your ideas, and your idealism to ensure that America remains prosperous, secure, and a beacon of liberty for all humanity. Each year, in conjunction with Public Service Recognition Week, the nonprofit Partnership for Public Service announces the finalists for the prestigious Samuel J. Heyman Service to America medals. The awards are named after the partnership's founder and benefactor and highly excellent in our federal workforce. I'm proud that Maryland is home to 12 finalists. They are, in the field of science, technology, and environment, Dr. Adam Filippi, Dr. Sergey Gordon, and Dr. Range Ryan. Investigator, associate investigator, and staff scientists, respectively, at the National Institutes of Health, National Human Genome Research Institute, and the Telomar to Telomar Consortium, which Dr. Filippi co-founded in 2018, having cracked the last 8% of humans' genetic code. Their research into understanding the most difficult parts of our DNA has enabled scientists to discover more than 2 million variants in our genetic makeup, many of which can cause serious health problems. We will make leaps and bounds in understanding Down syndrome, autism, and cancer, and devising the effective gene therapies for a host of diseases. Dr. Filippi put it this way: it's really easy to get up and go to work in the morning because our work is making such a difference. What a dedicated public servant. In management excellence, Megan Meachin, Allison Hutchings, and Sarah O'Donnell Director, Deputy Director, and Team Lead, respectively, at the Department of Health and Human Services Rural Strategic Initiative Division under the Health Resources and Services Administration. Created the Rural Communities Opioid Response Program to provide grant funding for a wide array of innovative and effective opioid use prevention, treatment, and recovery services. The program, which they established 5 years ago, has served more than 2 million people each year in more than 1,800 rural counties across 47 states and 2 territories. As Megan Meechan has stated, we are here to help and passionate to serve. Even when we hit a roadblock, we find a way around it. We know the challenges of opioid addiction. Our public servants are answering the challenge. Management excellence. Gloria Morgan Shepherd, Executive Director, Federal Highway Administration, Department of Transportation, is one of 3 DOT senior managers being honored for helping to craft and implement the Bipartisan Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. We were proud to pass that bill. It wasn't so easy to implement it, and dedicated public servants at the Department of Transportation are making sure that our legislation carries out its intended purpose. Thanks to their work, DOT initiated 1,887 transportation projects last year that awarded nearly $10 billion in discretionary funds on top of the $82.3 billion in formula funding that will help modernize the nation's highways, bridges, shipping ports, railroads, and airports. Gloria Morgan Shepherd and her colleagues implemented 76 new or expanded grant programs and initiated bridge repair programs, a national electric vehicle charging network, and a host of safety initiatives. That's what we intended. Our public servants at DOT are carrying that out. Management excellence. Rear Admiral Nancy Hann, Director of National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Commission Corps and Director of NOAA's Office of Marine and Aviation Operations, has implemented policies to curb sexual harassment, assault, and bullying among employees aboard NOAA's marine fleet and aircraft, creating a safer workplace and changing the organization's culture. Admiral Hann, who has been with NOAA for 26 years, said, "It is really important for everyone to have a voice and to feel comfortable physically and emotionally and mentally in the workplace. I have the responsibility to be the voice of the person who don't feel like they have a voice or are too scared. I take that responsibility very seriously." We are all better off because of Admiral Hann's work. The Paul A. Volcker Career Achievement Award, Dr. Eric J. Rocky Fior, Chief Statistical Research and Applications Branch Surveillance Research Program, Division of Cancer Control and Population Science, National Cancer Institute, National Institutes of Health, has developed new methods to estimate the chances of an individual being diagnosed with cancer at different times during their career. Over the past 4 decades, he has designed a sophisticated system using statistical analysis to understand national cancer trends better, leading to significant prevention, screening, and treatment options that have benefited millions of Americans. In 2000, he created the Cancer Intervention Surveillance Model Network, allowing statisticians and scientists to address critical cancer-related questions collaboratively. He has stated that the statistical analysis he has engaged in over the course of his career is backbencher-type work, but added it has helped move people to action and improved health care. Yes, we are dealing with the cancer challenges in our community, and people like Dr. Fuller are making a huge difference. Safety, Security, and International Affairs, Lisa Chow, Assistant Director, Consumer Protection Branch, Department of Justice, has protected the public from the harmful and misleading trade practices by businesses across a wide range of industries, including Altria, R.J. Reynolds, Facebook, and Dish Network, securing some of the largest fines in U.S. history and requiring the disclosure of important safety and privacy information. Ms. Lisa Chow has said, "I'm proud that through these cases we have created law that can be built upon. As a lawyer, it's pretty rare to be able to make precedent that both protects the public and affects good public policy." Protecting consumers, protecting the public. That's what public servants do. Management excellence. Robert Gorman, Senior Trial Attorney, Department of Transportation, is one of 3 DOT officials in the Office of Aviation Consumer Protection who's led to an aggressive campaign to require airlines to compensate air travelers for airfare and other related costs for canceled or significantly delayed flights due to circumstances within the airline's control. The campaign has produced a record $8.4 million in fines and more than $1 billion in passenger refunds. Robert Gorman and his colleagues looked for patterns to determine if an airline was repeatedly being unresponsive and non-compliant with respect to consumer complaints, leading the Aviation Consumer Protection Office to issue 2 regulatory notices, launched investigations, bring enforcement action, in some instances reached settlement for travelers to be reimbursed. Thanks to Robert Gorman and his colleagues, the skies are finally friendlier for flyers. And in science, technology, and the environment, Dr. Sarah Nelson, Director, Defense Programs, Office of Experimental Services, National Nuclear Security Administration, Department of Energy. She's played a leading role in overseeing scientists who, for the first time in history, produced a fusion reaction that produced more energy than it required, a breakthrough with enormous implications for abundant clean energy and national defense. When harnessed and explained to the utility scale, fusion energy will produce reliable electricity without releasing greenhouse gases or producing radioactive waste. Dr. Nelson started as an intern at the NNSA's Lawrence Livermore Research Laboratory. She has said, "It was a tremendously influential experience for me, but I had no idea that I'd be sitting in this chair 20 years later when a scientific breakthrough would be accomplished. If we're able to use this technology someday to enable clean energy, it would be a game changer." And is she right on that? So, Mr. President, we can debate the proper role and size of our government, but I would hope we can all agree that we want the best and brightest to serve. These individuals and their fellow honorees represent the best of our federal workforce has to offer. But we should be grateful for all public servants who go to work each day determined to make a positive difference for their fellow Americans. And we should be grateful all year long. Mr. President, I yield the floor.